Hello, lucky viewer. Now, I want to start this video off with a big thank you to whoever watched the last video. It really does support me, regardless of however long you watched the video for. Now, let's start with the newest idea for a video series on my channel, and that is the Taiga series. Now, the Taiga series is a series where we talk about selected environments and we talk about its biodiversity, wildlife, plant life, and etc. Now, I do hope to continue this series for at least 5 episodes, but that will be a hard goal to reach. So, I really do ask for your support on this one. Now, let's get on with the video, shall we? Okay, so as mentioned before, this is a mini series, and we're gonna first talk about the tiger. And I say we're gonna first talk about the tiger because I do wish to expand this series into multiple interesting biomes, just like it, into a big series. So, first episode, what are we gonna talk about? Well, as mentioned in the thumbnail, we're gonna talk about nature, or here, more specifically, plant life. And the plant life in the very interesting tiger is, well, as implied, very interesting. And I absolutely love the tiger bio. Mainly because you can't find this density of trees anywhere else facing the same harsh conditions that a tiger does. And another thing is, through all those hardships, it's the world's largest land biome. And it spans northern North America and Eurasia. So, plant life. Now, the very interesting plant life of the tiger mainly have the coniferous dominance issue. That is, well, it's not really an issue, it's just they include mostly coniferous trees. That is, coniferous trees basically means trees or a type of woody plant that are mostly evergreen. And they also reproduce using cones. Now, if you're living in the USA watching this right now, you probably have a few pine cones in your backyard, if you have one. Now, these pine cones have those tiny indents called scales. And these naked seeds, quote unquote, is what they're called. And these develop on the scales of those male and female cones. Now, the conifers, or coniferous trees, make up the taxonomic division Pinophyta, that is, gymnosperms, and are among the oldest, tallest, and largest living things on Earth. That is, they've been here since the olden days. I mean, olden days meaning prehistoric times. Yeah. So they have a few key characteristics. Their wood type are usually softwoods. They're called that because they're a major source of lumber and paper pulp worldwide. And they also have a generically modified needles or scales to help the tree retain moisture and survive in harsh, cold, or dry environments, just like the tiger. And that is the first adaptation we're going to be talking about in this whole video. Trust me, there are a lot of adaptations to cover. Now, for all those adaptations, there needs to be a reason, right? Of course. And one of those main reasons we're going to be talking about now is weather. Weather conditions in the taiga, like I've mentioned before, are extremely harsh. And they survive extreme subarctic winter. That is, they feature punishing winters down to minus 50 degrees Celsius or minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit, and brief, frantic growing seasons, that is, cool, short summers, to be simple. And these plants have adapted to survive them all. Now, one of the most interesting adaptations that plants have made is antifreeze sap. Antifreeze sap sounds like a very cool name, but trust me, it's 100 times cooler because trees produce thick resin. Now, if you live if you live in Canada, you know that this sap is used to make maple syrup from, well, certain trees, maple trees. But here, these trees produce thick resin and they have chemical sugars in them to keep cells from freezing and bursting. And these antifreeze saps that are present in those trees are an extremely cool way of surviving the cold. Most of the trees, as mentioned before, are coniferous, and coniferous trees have needles. Now, these needles have specific adaptations again, such as dark needles. Deep green foliage, as you can see from white spruce trees or black spruce trees, helps the tree from absorbing maximum heat and light from weak, low angle sunlight, which is most prevalent in the long winters that they face. They also have elastic branches. They're highly flexible and bends under heavy snow instead of snapping. And that leads to another adaptation. These trees have cone shaped, well, branches and leaves, sloping, downward drooping branches. Ring a bell? Yeah, because most pear and pine trees usually have this adaptation. These help heavy winter snow just slide off the plant without damaging it. Now, like I've said before, needles have adaptations, and so waxy, thin needles that these trees have reduce water loss and then resist freezing. Okay, so another factor that mainly influences adaptation in these taiga biomes is soil. The soil conditions in tigers are also harsh because the soil here is usually thin, acidic, and low in nutrients due to slow decay rates. Now, you and me would definitely expect decay rates to be low. I mean, I would think that heat plays a major factor in the decay rates of anything, really. And so the plants have adapted to this by having a high acid tolerance. Plants here can tolerate high chemical acidity caused by slow decaying, like I've said before, and waxy fallen needles. Actually, another interesting thing is that these some of these plants have carnivorous diets. Plant like sundew traps and other carnivorous plants trap insects to get nutrients missing from the ground. That is a really cool adaptation actually, and it's very rare to see them other than tropical areas from what I've seen really. They also have shallow roots, that is wide flat root systems that stay near the surface to avoid frozen permafrost. Permafrost is basically a layer of ice or snow that never melts, even under extreme heat. So, another extremely cool synergy between microorganisms and then plants is mycorrhizal fungi. That is, roots partner with fungi to aggressively absorb scarce nitrogen and phosphorus. And this is a adaptation that most leguminous plants have. That is not mito. um, anyway, so where was I? Yes, examples of trees in the taiga. So, most coniferous trees have examples like Scotch pine, jack pine, Siberian larches, tamarack larches, black spruce, white spruce, balsam fir, paper birch, quaking aspen, and etc. So, what all cool things are there other than this? Well, my friend, you're sadly mistaken because we've arrived at the fun fact section. Now, the fun fact section, let's head to fun fact 1. You know that tigers are actually famous for bird highway. They're called the bird highway because billions, that is, billions of migratory birds use the short summer to breed, making it the world's largest seasonal nursery. It's also known as the living carpet. Walking on the thick moss floor of the taiga feels like bouncing on a trampoline because of the trapped air pockets. Could you imagine that? Trampolines all over the ground in a forest. Oh my god. Okay, fun fact two. They also have exploding cones. Yes, that is true. You've heard me right. Because some tree species keep their seeds locked up until a forest fire melts the resin holding the cone shut. I've seen this, personally, in Australia, where some of the plants, some of the trees, only reproduce through forest fires. And that's why they have really long trees. I think that's prevalent in the taiga as well here. It's also known as the nature's air freshener because pine and fir trees, that are coniferous trees mainly present in the taiga, release chemical compounds called terpenes or terpenes, I don't know how to pronounce that, that actually create clouds to cool the forest. Fun fact number three. The taiga is also known for having zombie fires. Okay, they're called that because they're massive underground fires that can smolder silently beneath the winter and burst back alive in spring. That is, they smolder under the snow. So they might be on fire right now and we just don't know. So, well, that's all I can say about the tiger without making this video about like 20 minutes or so. I have to edit all that. I do not have the capacity to edit all that. But I feel like the taiga is an amazing biome. And without the taiga, we really wouldn't have a lot of summer plant growth because the Earth's green lung, also known as the taiga, breathes so deeply that summer plant growth measurably drops global carbon dioxide levels. Could you imagine that? CO2 dropping because of one tiger biome. It's so cool, mate. So I want to end that informatory video on high note. Thank you so much. I hope to see you on the next video.